Hi, welcome to Paristotle Studies. Today we'll be discussing sugar. My purpose here is to inform you, my audience, of the various names for sugars and how to identify them. Because of the structural differences of sugars, they are able to take on various names which allow them to hide within our food labels without our knowing it. Did you know, according to an article by the University of California, San Francisco, 74% of packaged food contains some form of added sugar. 74%. With the overwhelming presence of sugars in our everyday foods, knowing the different names for them can help us identify when we are eating those hidden sugars. Because of their structural differences, sugars can hide within our food labels because of their different names. I am fascinated by the chemistry of sugar and of chemistry in general. I've also watched many documentaries about sugars and its dangers before cutting sugar from my diet altogether. Today we'll be discussing the nutrient category sugars are part of, the classifications for sugars, sugar as a term, and the various names for sugars. To start, sugars are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are used by our body for energy, to run up and down a sports field, or determine the best way to perform Maroon 5's Sugar. Carbohydrates also differ in structure. They can either be mono, di, or polysaccharides. And in an article by Healthline, carbohydrate is defined as a single sugar molecule or multiple sugar molecules bonded together. The different saccharides or sugar molecules can be represented by Legos. A monosaccharide is a single sugar molecule, and in an article by Healthline, monosaccharide is defined as a simple sugar that cannot be broken down any further. A disaccharide is two sugar molecules bonded together, which is also a simple sugar. And a polysaccharide is at least three sugar molecules bonded together, which is a complex sugar. These different structures can be found in natural sugars or man-made sugars. In an article by the Sugar Association, natural sugars are found in fruits and veggies and in dairy products, whereas man-made sugars have natural sugars as a foundation or a starting point before the manipulation occurs. Examples of natural sugars that are monosaccharides or single sugars include glucose, fructose, and galactose. Natural sugars that are disaccharides include lactose, a galactose molecule and a glucose molecule, and maltose, two glucose molecules bonded together. In an article by the Center for Young Women's Health, man-made sugars are listed such as aspartame and sucralose. Sucralose, for example, starts off as a fructose molecule and a glucose molecule bonded together. But when it undergoes a chemical change, represented by switching out the glucose molecules, it represents a new compound. Regarding the Legos, the colors represent different sugars, but chemically the shapes are different. With the different shapes meaning a different name, sugar means a different compound. The term sugar, according to an article by the Sugar Association, is the common name for the chemical compound sucrose. Sucrose is a fructose molecule bonded to a glucose molecule, and it's a disaccharide. But when the sucrose molecule breaks it down, it returns to its monosaccharide state of one glucose molecule and one fructose molecule. Even though sugar is representing the name of the chemical compound sucrose, so sugars still take on multiple identities. In an article by the University of California, San Francisco, there are over 61 names for sugars. 61. And in an article by Food 52, there are different forms such as crystallized, powderized, and liquidized forms. For example, the ending OSE conveys that there is a sugar present, or any ingredients that end in syrup also convey that that is a sugar. Because sugars take on different personas, they can hide within our food labels. Take ketchup, for example. Sugar is not listed in the ingredients list, but both high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup are both listed and are the sugars. Also, this Nutri-Grain bar, sugar is listed in the ingredients list, but so is dextrose, fructose, and blueberry puree concentrate, which are all sugars. Even though there are different names for sugars because of their different structures, In an article by Harvard Health Publishing, it states that natural sugars and man-made sugars are both metabolized the same way in our bodies. Today I discussed the nutrient categories sugars are a part of, the classifications for sugars, sugar as a term, and the different names for sugars. Because of the structural differences of sugars, they're able to take on different names, which allows them to hide within our food labels. Regarding the 74% of packaged food that contains some form of added sugar, we know that added sugars are not vanishing from our everyday foods. However, knowing why sugars are labeled differently because of their structural differences can help us in our decision making of what foods to eat and drink. Thank you.